Peace, family. House of Consciousness presents Professor Larry, and I'm your host, of course, Brother Sarnetta. In this series, part 2, Brother Larry will deal with why he has killed another black man. How can you talk about all this black stuff and you have killed one of your brothers? Is he justified? You make the call, fam.
You know, you got this fantasy in your head about getting out of the life and setting that other world on its ear. What the fuck are you gonna do except hustle? Besides pimping. And you really ain't got the stomach for that. Now, man, I ain't putting you down. If it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be OD'd someplace. I'm just trying to make it real, baby, like it is. And maybe this is what you supposed to do. This is what you've grown to.
You went to prison for killing another black man. How can you talk about black on black unity, black love when you have went to jail for taking another brother's life?
That's
I'm
an
just
excellent
throwing
question.
that out there.
That's an excellent question.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's deal with that in two parts. Part number one would be the psychology of oppression. When you are a young man, member of an oppressed group, you're not necessarily, unless you're being directed, thinking as a member of a group. Especially when all of the information that you've ever been given has encouraged you to think like an individual, to be all that you can be yourself, right? So when you grow up, you clash with individuals. Now, as a youth, I got involved in what's called street crime. I say what's called street crime because I don't call it street crime. I have a deeper understanding of what was occurring now than I did at that time. But at that time, we are on the corners, we got blocks, we're selling drugs. So as a consequence of that activity, you get guys who want to rob you because you have money. You get people who are addicted to drugs. They try to steal the drugs from you because they're sick, they're addicted to drugs, so they're not thinking in their right frame of mind. So it's a sick environment. At the time, I was 18 years old, heavily involved in narcotics traffic, kept a gun in my pocket for my own protection. I had already been shot. I had already had contracts placed on me to shoot me, right? So I'd already been in gun battles.
So let me ask you a question. How come you ain't just say, damn, I already been shot, I already been in gun battles, damn, this is my opportunity to make a rap record?
Listen.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, you're a rapper.
Listen,
you do flow.
Yeah, but this is not about that.
You can sell records.
Listen to this.
Okay,
Listen to this. You hear the stories the little rappers be telling?
Yeah.
That's my life for real.
That's why I'm saying.
So,
you know.
but because it's my life for real, I really don't talk about that.
Right.
You understand? People who talk about that, they didn't really do that. You understand? People who really did that, they really don't talk about that.
Right.
No. We understand terms like statute of limitations. You understand? So now, what I'm saying to you is that in being involved in that type of activity, right, lends a young mind to the impressionability of the individuals in that environment. I happen to have come into contact with some old, what you would call, gangsters. Okay? So they tell you how things are supposed to be, how things are, and why you shouldn't be doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Like if you're selling drugs, why you shouldn't use drugs. Okay? So consequently, I don't use drugs, right? I don't use heroin and stuff like that, right? Because that was the drug that I sold. If you sell what you use, you'll be your own best customer, and you'll wind up like the bum on the street, right? We knew bums on the street that used to be rich.
To make a long story short.
Make a long story short. Now, in this, y'all funny.
Nah.
In this environment, right? So let me give it to you real, because what I went to prison for has a a moral lesson as well. Okay? From start to finish. I'm coming down the street. This is 8th Avenue. I see the police searching somebody whom I assume is somebody like me, fellow drug dealer, right? And I see the people that I regard as customers, we call them dope fiends, scrambling for his stash. I said, give me that. The cops leave, I give him back his stash. He said, yo, Larry, I owe you one. So you don't owe me nothing. I go about my business. Totally forget that this happened. This is like maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the nighttime, right? About 1 o'clock in the morning, I stopped by a bar on 133rd Street to sip a beer and play a record before I go home. Another guy comes to me. Yo, Larry, why you do that to Alan? Who the hell is Alan? Why you playing games? What the hell are you talking about? I'm walking across the street. He's following me. Yo, what's up? I look back. What the hell is wrong with you? Yo, why you playing games? So now this is confrontational language that we're having, right? So in confrontational language, I say, yo, get the fuck out of my face before I punch you in your mouth. I walk into the bar. So now I'm standing in the bar by the rail, and I'm sipping a Miller Ale, and I'm minding my business, listening to a record, and here he comes again. Yo, why you take that shit from Alan? So now he says, take something. I said, take what? So I said, who the hell is Alan? He said, he'll be back. So I'll be here. You understand? Sarnetta, I have no reason not to be there. First of all, I've done nothing wrong, right? I've taken nothing from anyone, right? Not only that, but, you know, I'm me. Got my gun in my pocket. What am I gonna run for? I'm standing still. So now, about a half hour later, the guy from earlier comes in, and I see them talking. So I look over, and I said, him? No way. So now, through my mind, all of the larceny that I've learned in the street shoots straight through my mind. And I say to myself, I know he ain't telling the people he worked for that I took his stuff. Now this is what I say before I walk in his direction. So now, to the guy who initiated the confrontation, his name is Jose, by the way. He's still around too. I said, him? To Jose. He said, yeah, that's him. So I looked at the guy from earlier. I said, yo, tell him I gave you that shit. So now, he pointed his finger in my face, all 6'5" of him, Sarnetta, and said, motherfucker, you ain't gave me nothing. Now, I'm not gonna listen to what I'm telling you, Sarnetta, right? Because you gotta hear this and understand how it took me years to come to this understanding. Right. You understand? So now when he said that, I didn't verbalize my feelings. I reached into my pocket. I had a .25 automatic in my pocket. I cocked it back and I shot him in his leg, right? And I said, now tell the truth. He tried to run. So I shot him. I couldn't let him run. Right. He would have got me later. You understand? So now, perhaps.
Where you hit him at?
I hit him in his leg first. His knee. Then I shot him 4 more times. Right? Now, and I stood there too. I didn't leave till he was gone. I stayed until he was gone. When he left, I left. Right? And I looked at his crew. And they didn't move. And I left. Now, out of the crew that was in that bar, right? All the law-abiding citizens in the bar, mind their business. All the criminal gangsters in the bar told the police on me. You understand? Listen, the barmaid, law-abiding citizen, heard the whole thing, seen what was happening, found out what happened. Look, I don't know what happened. I'm out of my business. You understand? To this day, I still have one individual that still would like to tell on me about this incident. Has told on me numerous times over the years behind this incident because he was a criminal, right? And I say he was a criminal, and note that I wasn't a criminal. He was a criminal because he got caught up in the the drug scandal, swindle game, just like myself, right?
How long it took for them to catch you? Police.
It happened on.
So you had a good.
It happened on September 7th. And I didn't get arrested for that. I got arrested. They caught me by a fluke, man. They would have never caught me, son. They caught me by a fluke. I was at somebody's house, and they came to get them, a female, and I was there. Okay, I thought I was safe. I was on 86th Street and Western Avenue, hiding out, and I thought I was safe, and they came to get her ass because she jumped bail.
Can I ask a brother a question?
Go ahead, brother.
In relation to the questions that Sarnetta asked you, how could you be like in the Black Power movement now as a result of having shot somebody? I just want to make one comment and ask you one question. I would respond to that question by saying, well, I'm not the same person now that I was then. And number two, let me ask you, you were selling drugs?
Yeah.
Would you say that whether or not you pulled the trigger or you sold them the bag of heroin, you were killing black people both ways? I mean, because it seems to me like the person who's asking the question is making a big deal out of you pulling the trigger.
Fair
but
enough.
I would say, and I'm not, casting any dispersion on you because I've lived that lifestyle myself, but to me, pulling the trigger or selling a man a bag of dope, to me, those are two equal occurrences.
Fair enough. That's a fair observation because there are individuals who die from drug use, and I guess the person who provided them with those drugs are killing them. However, I personally know that nobody died from any drugs I gave them, right? Now, how do I know? Trust me, I know. I know
they came back to get more, right?
No, not just because they came back to get more. It's because of what I was doing, right? So now, what I'm saying is, as far as being the same person, it's obvious that I'm not the same person. I'm 52 years old. The person who
And you did this when you was
18. The person who sold the drugs doesn't exist anymore. The person who killed the person doesn't exist anymore. But I don't make that argument because people are not ready to accept it on that level. Every 7 years, every cell in your body changes. You understand? I'm not the same person, but more importantly, I don't think like that anymore. More importantly, selling drugs is the easy way to do things. Being a criminal, feeding on your own people is actually the easy way to do things because it doesn't take a lot of brains to go stand on a corner and pass somebody a bag that pass you some money. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to go tell your friends, listen, I got this, let's go sell this for that. That's not imagination, that's not brains. But what it is, what I've come to understand is that somebody is plotting and scheming against us. I take plots and schemes personally, especially when they're designed to affect us as a group. When I was selling drugs, that was not my understanding. I did not see people conspiring against me as a black person. I didn't think of myself as a black person. I thought of myself as Larry. You understand? When you are introduced to information, people can use that information for your benefit or for their benefit. Most of the times when movements came through the black community, it was people using those movements for their benefit.
Well, Professor Larry, I feel that you was in a no-win situation and you had to do what you had to do at that time because it would have been your life or his life. You see, that's the way I'm looking at it from your story because the brother was intending to set you up.
Yeah, I
You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, really, you had no choice.
Well, here's
Or
why.
some people might say, well, you could have ran away.
Well, no,
they
but
gonna be looking for you
here's why I don't use that scenario to apply to me, right?